The public still can't figure out why Cameron's Avatar was so successful. There are two things that made the highest grossing film: fancy picture and subliminal messaging. The great wisdom that makes one a leader, or even a chief, seems to be encrypted to those of us who are not familiar with it. First of all, notice that young chief shouts, "Take courage, warrior," 2 times.
Make the bond!
2 times. Not just once, as shown in the subtitles. Post-production messed up not just once, but twice in this scene, as "take courage" is a bit different than "don't be afraid," as shown in the subtitle. Cameron hired a professional linguist to create a robust and correct synthetic language for his film, but even such giants as Cameron often suffer from saboteurs in a team. Chief shouts, "Take courage, warrior," but a moment later he says something completely opposite. That moron is going to die. From that last phrase, women and their subordinates make the conclusion that the chief does not like Jake. They say he is jealous and feels sorry for his bride being taken by Jake, and that is why he is so unfriendly. But let's take a closer look at how the chief says these opposite by their sense phrases. Phrases like, "That moron is going to die," addressed not to Jake, but to Neytiri, or to novices. All youths and women have one problem in common. They are unfriendly to victorious chiefs. They see victors, and especially saviors, as monsters, as evil humans. And there is reason for that. Saviors and true leaders are brave enough to face evil. When youths and women turn away from it, they turn away to see their savior and the evil reflected in his eyes. That means if Chief predicts Jake to win his battle, youths and women will surreptitiously do whatever they can to make Jake lose. Their silent will is already enough. The will of those who you trust matters. But if Chief predicts Jake to lose, youths and women will do whatever they can to help Jake to win. Not because they are friendly to Jake, but because they are unfriendly to the Chief. To make Chief look like a fool, they will cheer for Jake. This reverse psychology method is clearly shown in Jake's horse ride training. It should be on account that Jake, at this time, does not know the Na'vi language well enough to understand it yet. Chief speaks in Na'vi, and his words are addressed to Neytiri.
You should go away. I knew you could speak English.
Chief is developed enough to know that Neytiri will die to prove that Chief is wrong. Wrong in at least something. Wrong in anything. And wrong in everything. That is why Chief says the opposite of what he plans to achieve. So when Chief criticizes Jake in front of Neytiri, it means that Chief wishes Jake to succeed.
Again.
And during Banshee capturing, Chief speaks the phrase, "Take courage, warrior," which is clearly addressed to Jake. Note that he shows support to Jake only in situations where Jake is in battle, when Jake is mobilized, in the short period when Jake is not forced to be a mommy's boy. It is a clear sign of support from man to man. In other words, Chief was always friendly and wished success to Jake whenever he said, "Take courage, warrior," to him whenever he addressed his critiques to backward-minded people. The remarkable aspect of Avatar is that it shows Jake in his development. In the very beginning of the film, Jake is a mommy's boy, and he orients himself exclusively on Neytiri. Jake sees her as his only friend and guide.
She talks about a network of energy that flows through all living things. She says,
but later, he starts to look forward to manhood and partnership. And at the beginning of his path, it does not matter for him what Chief says to do. Jake will not listen. Even worse, he will try to do the opposite. During most of the film's length, Chief manipulates his mommy figure, Neytiri, to make her do the opposite. So it should be clear that Jake's true mentor is Chief, not Neytiri. If Chief were not around, with his guidance, Neytiri would just do what every woman does. She would constantly demonstrate to Jake that she is true perfection, and he is a dumbass. That's exactly what she did before the tribe's chief stepped in.
Your fault! your fault. You're like a baby, making noise, don't know what to do.
But
Stupid.
her will to obstruct
Ignorant
Chief
like a
is
child.
more important to her than sabotaging Jake. Her hidden hatred for Chief is so intense that she will try to prove that Chief is a fool first. Here's a good example of reverse psychology management. It seems like Chief's words are addressed to Jake, but the end receiver is Neytiri.
Shiksa will go first.
Here is her reaction. Unambiguous. She reacts not to Chief's words, but only on Chief's personality. Whatever Chief says to her, her reaction would be the same. Jake is still a mommy's boy when he goes for a banshee, and Neytiri is more important to him than partnership with a true leader, and he will want what Neytiri wants. She guides him psycho-energetically. Chief understands that Neytiri secretly wants Jake to fail, no matter how nice she smiles to him. But Chief also knows that Neytiri hates him, the Chief, even more, and her hatred is her main sentiment. So in order to save Jake, Chief depicts unfriendliness to him. Neytiri, as a backwards-minded person, tries to prove that Chief is a fool and forgets to trip up Jake. Someone might say that capturing a banshee is the most extreme sport one can do. People who love extreme things imagine themselves as very high-hearted persons.
So team go.
All right, ladies, let's bring the pain.
They imagine themselves as super manly and masculine.
We will blast a crater in their racial memory so deep that they will, and that too is a fact.
So they might say that Jake is far from being a mama's boy. Bullshit. Even Neytiri captured herself a banshee. Jake can handle it too. Extreme is nothing. Something from a lady's world. Extreme is not even close to the same as manliness. These novices do some extreme stuff, but still they are mama's boys. Here is another episode. And again. Women and rookies will interpret this episode and state that Chief is envious of Jake's success. They will say that Chief is offended with them praising Jake. Dim interpretation. Success honors humility. With their gestures and admiration shouts, novices try to kill Jake's humility and make him feel pride. When one feels pride, he falls into facets, loses control, and faces defeat. Basically, these kids attempt to trip Jake up, and Chief, as Jake's true friend, helps him to stay calm. And he also helps the youths to control their mommy's boy reflexes. The key character in Avatar is not Jake, but his mentor, the young Chief, who nurtured Jake to become a great chief, the Taruk Makto. Different types of viewers focus on different things in Avatar. Women focus on spiteful Neytiri and her affairs. They think she is glorious. It is ridiculous. Mommy's boys focus on Jake. But a real man focuses on Chief, the most friendly and honorable person. Two opposite points of view make two different films. By women's point of view, Chief suffers from his envy and jealousness of Jake. But from man's point of view, Chief is the master of covert management, a true leader, and in fact, he is not very impressed with the bride he has to marry. Now Avatar can be re-watched with a new sense of greater enjoyment.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
We already reviewed honorable characters in Avatar, but who is the most disgusting character?
Fight terror with terror. We will blast a crater in their racial memory so deep that they won't come within 1,000 clicks of this place ever again. And that, too, is a fact.
Women and their subordinates will pick Colonel as some kind of brave villain. But their point of view is wrong. The most disgusting person is him. He is a type of Feldwebel in Hitler's army. The extreme opposite of young Chief. Chief is the most developed and initiated. Most developed persons are humble, and in the case of lack of knowledge, they say something akin to, I don't know, I have no experience in this, etc. And they go to seek a respectful and humble mentor, or they become researchers by themselves, spending decades to master some aspect of knowledge, and only then allow themselves to open their mouths and say their opinion. On the other hand is Fildvibel, ignorant in everything, but has an answer to all questions. And of course, he imagines himself as true perfection.
Alright, ladies, let's bring the pain.
Colonel at least knows battle tactics. He is not great, but at least he is not a complete zero. Colonel, for example, would handle this situation.
Alright, ladies, let's bring the pain. I get moving. Hold position. Something's coming. We got movement 200 meters. Be ready.
How to deal with elephants was described at the beginning of the film. So to survive, this bald-headed soldier just needs to stand still and the elephants would ignore him. Colonel would handle this. Bald head failed.
Don't shoot. Don't shoot, you'll piss him off. It's a territorial threat display. Do not run, or he'll charge.
So what do I do? Dance with it?
Just hold your ground.
Baldhead is stupid. A stupid person is a betrayer of truth. Stupid is a betrayer in every situation. Baldhead could quit his dishonorable service like this lady.
One's good. Solid hits. Solid rocks on target.
Screw this.
But he did not.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I didn't sign up for this shit.
He enjoys bullying and marauding. Look at his enthusiasm.
Yeah, get some!
Freeze up.
Yeah, baby, get some!
He is disgusting. Stupid and hateful.
Eyes up, check that overhead. Hold position, be ready.
Also, he is the leader of the Marauders. Typical local-sized autocrat.
Doing? Biff. Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
Oh, hey, Biff. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, you got my homework finished, McFly?
Well, actually, I figured since it wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey.
Colonel, at least, was designated by upper management. He passed exams and knows that he can be removed at any time. But Baldhead is elected by the public. In Hitler's army, Fildvibel formally was designated by upper management too, but only from the list of those who were chosen by perverted public opinion as of the best of them. Everyone intuitively knows that a marauder is a pile of shit. A marauder robs from bodies of enemies and allies alike, and not only from dead bodies. It is not an accident that their head tries to make it look like they are giving something back for destroying nature.
You know, I mean, we tried to give them medicine, education, roads, but no, they like mud.
But do the Pandorians need roads if they have banshees? Anyone, coward and marauder, can use roads. And in order to get a banshee, one must not be stupid and cowardly as a child. If roads would appear in Pandora, population of cowards would grow up in numbers. Eventually, the whole nation would degrade and degenerate. Marauders also have offered their medicine. But Pandorians have their own medicine. Ewa. Ewa cures only the deserving ones. When medicine of Marauders cures Marauders, and not really cures, it makes band-aids. If Pandorians accept Marauders' medicine, populations of bastards will go up in number. The swarm of scoundrels will build roads on top of sacred places, and on top of places of power which cure honest ones. Sacred places would be ruined. No wonder why Pandorians refuse such kind of medicine. The third thing Marauders offered to Pandorians was schools. Education. No doubt that they will teach Pandorians things Marauders like the most. In other words, things that make one a Marauder. Schools of Marauders will increase the count of dishonest, and their graduates will continue the corruption of nations on their own. So the Marauders offer nothing back for taking the Pandorians' resources. They say, you give us your very best, and we'll give you back corruption or nothing. That is the definition of marauding. A marauder is always a traitor of truth and light. Women find traitors very appealing. By their point of view, Marauder is always in clover. He takes everything he can reach for free. But traitor does not live luxuriously. Betrayal is not for free. Betrayal of a universal law is unnatural. A traitor starts to hate honest ones. Hatred is destructive for any living thing. Betrayal of universal laws always causes two things: cowardice and hatred. One experiences cowardice when he betrayed but did not have time to find some excuse for his betrayal. Some stupid excuse. Traitor fears honest ones. He louts back fears. Attacks, barks like a dog, but fears. He feels bad, but as soon as he finds some absurd excuse, something like roads that no one needs, he starts to hate.
Alright, let's pull the trigger.
Hatred is bigger debasement than cowardice. Baldhead Fieldvebel is in hatred. Colonel also hates, but much less than Baldhead. And if these two were ordered to join Pandorians as avatars, there is some chance that Colonel would go through at least Hunter initiation and will turn to Pandorian's side afterwards. Baldhead will fail. Colonel is worth prisoning, but Baldhead must be liquidated without a doubt. That is exactly what is shown in the film.
Give it up, Quarch! It's all over.
There is another detail about Baldhead.
Well, ladies.
He's a faggot.
Look at all this fresh meat! Woo! Well, ladies.
All right, ladies. Let's bring the pain. All right, ladies.
The full set of a public leader: coward, stupid, faggot, hates everyone around. An electorate will grovel and pray for him.
Fresh meat!
Check this out, man. Meals on wheels.
The fact that Fieldvebel is coward is shown in this episode. Elephants attack only cowards. Elephants sense cowards, no matter what mask they wear. False machismo can't fool an elephant. All that also means that Baldhead Fieldvebel is depressive. Fieldvebel tries to look brave and strong, but a woman always depicts the opposite from what she really feels. When a woman is sour and depressive, she portrays that she is extremely happy, successful, and motivated. And when a woman is in fear, she depicts bravery.
All right, ladies. Let's bring the pain.
And barks like a homeless dog onto people.
Yeah, baby, get some!
And when woman is in hatred, she plays cute and lovely, pure kindness and friendliness. At the same time, backwards-minded people see genuinely friendly and kind chiefs as a monster. Baldhead Fieldvebel is depressive and wants to die. That is why he did not want to find a way to survive his last battle. Colonel is a coward too. It is hard to see that only because he operates in the Marauders' army. In honorable war, he would quail, but in front of Marauders, youths see him as the example of bravery. So the Colonel's biggest secret is that he is a coward. Coward is the same thing as a traitor. Elite military or non-military groups liquidate traitors and cowards, if any sneak into their group. If one reads war memoirs, he knows that cowards and betrayers often have a very pathetic, pretentious appearance. Underdeveloped people often find this appearance very attractive. Full of fear and hatred, women and their subordinates see Colonel as a true man, and Chief as some embarrassment. Do not betrayals and you will see things as is, not backwards. A marauding army always consists from betrayers of 3 levels: privates, sergeants, and colonels. Avatar is a psychologically attuned film and can be used as research material alongside with Nazi army history. Cameron did a great job of showing how it works. Faggot Fieldvebel never changes sides and hate everyone. Colonels are educated. Women and traitors see them as super brave ones. Back in the time when Nazis were surrounded in Stalingrad, their defense was headed by General Schmidt. Nazis saw him as the perfect example of bravery. Schmidt gave pathetic speeches in order to execute anyone who wanted to join the Soviets. But later, he surrendered on his own. And as it was discovered later, He packed his own luggage and got prepared a long time before his actual surrender, at the time when he was super active in executing his subordinates who changed their minds. We already reviewed command personnel, educated cowards, betrayers, and faggot sergeants. But what about privates? Privates. They're like Jake in the first part of the film. One who can comply only with women.
Chicks-Lee will go first.
One who disrespects and wants to see more developed ones as their servants. No wonder why they elect faggots as leaders upon them. Yes, there was a time when Jake was one of them and tried to mimic some faggot he saw as an object of admiration. Compared to an honorable war, all 3 levels of marauding army are cowards, but each of them has a different ideology. Privates admire women and faggots. Feldwebel find themselves as pure perfection, and colonels praise patriots, just like Nazis who are also great patriots and nationalists. Colonels back in the day were praising women and faggots too. Admired themselves, but they have passed these levels of cretinism. Colonels are not the worst person in the army. They don't find women worth admiration, they don't find faggots worth admiration too. And they don't dwell in self-admiration as of because they perfectly know that they can be easily replaced by upper management. And they have to put up a lot of effort to stay at service. But they are cowards. War history knows that patriots can beat Olympic champion runners when war gets too close to them. And colonels lead this parade. Everyone in the marauding army is not a partner. In honorable organization, everything is different.